good afternoon, East Alabama and West Georgia. Dr. Don from the Severe Weather Center as we are tracking a very strong thunderstorm over Clay County at this hour. National Weather Service has issued a special weather statement, and they have also just issued a flood advisory for central Clay County that's in effect until 8:30 p.m. this evening. Urban and small stream flooding could be a problem there caused by excessive runoff. And this is going to be in Clay County, particularly in central Clay County, right around the Ashland area, and that is in effect until 8:30 p.m. this evening. At around 6:45 this evening, Doppler weather radar was indicating a very heavy thunderstorm with very heavy rainfall. This will cause urban and small stream flooding. Between 1 and 2 inches of rain have already fallen. An additional amount of up to 1 inch could be expected over the course of the next 30 minutes or so. So that would be pretty much in the Ashland and Lineville areas of central Clay County. So if you are going to be traveling in that area, the best idea is not. But if you're going to be traveling in that area, you got to be very mindful of street level flooding in this area of central Clay County. So let me just kind of take you in a little bit closer. And we'll show you what's happening. The really heavy stuff is from Ashland and to the south, just to the east of Harkins Crossroads. And let me turn on the road labeling here, and we'll start giving you some roads. There's Owens Road, Creek Road. These are the areas where the heaviest rainfall is currently falling. Armory Road, of course, that is Highway 9. There's Creek Road again. Sardis Road. Willis Road. These are the areas where the I know it's blinding rain all across central Clay County, but the absolute heaviest rain, and maybe even some very small hail, would be falling in the area of those roads that I just named to you there. Basically between Highway 77 and Highway 9 south of Ashland is where the absolute heaviest rainfall is taking place at this hour. It's going to be right there in that area where you see the pinks and the blues, or the purple and blues. And we also do have a hail indicator there, giving us an 80% chance of hail, only about a 30% chance of it being severe. So most likely it's down there in the probably pea-sized hail, if we have hail falling there at all. This could either be very small hail or really, really, really heavy rainfall. Now, everywhere you see the red, the reds and oranges, it's heavy. Yeah, that's heavy rain. And it stretches literally from Lineville all the way down to Shiloh, back over to Ashland, down to Harkins Crossroads, back over toward High Pine, Spring Hill, right up Highway 130, and even back over here into Talladega County. We have some heavy rainfall taking place there as well. That is going to be between, from Waldo south, down Highway 77 in Talladega County. Talladega, you're looking pretty good right now, but you have a heavy thunderstorm just to your northwest and also back down here to your southeast, back into Clay County. And here's the problem. As I put the radar in motion, you can see what the problem is. It's just not moving. We have it building a little bit to the north, but the core of that storm is just anchored right there, just south of Ashland. So the storm is just not moving very much at all. So that's why we have this aerial flood advisory for central Clay County and the special weather statement that is in effect for Clay County and Talladega County at this hour. And we'll give you the verbiage on that as well. Strong thunderstorms will impact portions of central Talladega, south central St. Clair, and central Clay through 7 p.m. this evening. Now, this was issued at 6:30, so that was a few minutes ago. Doppler radar is tracking strong thunderstorms along a line extending from Alpine Bay Resort near Ashland. These storms were nearly stationary and just not moving much. Had a cat that jumped up on the console here to help me do our weather forecast. Had to remove him. This storm's just not moving much. Therefore, we've got some very heavy rainfall out there. So, it's not severe, even though those of you that are right under this thunderstorm are scratching your head trying to figure out why it's not severe. Well, it's not severe because it doesn't meet severe criteria, even though it looks really bad. We do not have winds in excess of 58 miles per hour. We don't have hail at 1 inch or larger, and those are the two main factors you have to meet there to get a severe thunderstorm warning. So that's why you have a special weather statement and an aerial flood advisory for this area, particularly that area right around Ashland and just to the south of Ashland, even though anywhere from Lineville to Ashland on 9, down Highway 9 to about Millerville and up Highway 130 back over into Talladega County and then up toward Waldo. That's all a bad ride right now. Very, very heavy rainfall taking place there. So let me zoom out and kind of show you what's going on around the region. Randolph County, you're in good shape. You have some light rain up there northwest Randolph. You got a couple of cells down here to the south that are trying to get going. We have one between Wadley and Roanoke. It's very light at the moment. We have one small but somewhat intense thunderstorm near Milltown. I don't see any lightning associated with it, but there is some pretty heavy rainfall there for about maybe a mile or 2 mile square area there right around Milltown. And then as we look down to the south, scattered showers down in Chambers County near Marcoot. Southwest of Lafayette, down around Casita, and then a heavier thunderstorm from I-85 down in extreme southeastern Chambers, right along the Chambers-Lee County line, back over to around Blanton. Then Lee County looks pretty good. You got that rain up there just south of 85 from Beans Mill back over to the Georgia state line, and some light rain stretching back over to I-185. Then as we zoom back out, most of the rest of the heavy stuff is up in North Alabama, across I-20, stretching all the way back up toward Gadsden, Albertville, Aniana, and then up around Hartselle, approaching the Huntsville area as well, north of Coleman, and then some scattered heavier thunderstorms north of I-22 there, north of Hamilton, back down to just north of Jasper. So main reason we're here is because of this thunderstorm in central Clay County that has prompted an aerial flood advisory and a special weather statement. And the storm just isn't moving. It's pretty much stationary. As we put it back in motion, you can see what I'm talking about. It's just not going anywhere. And it will sit right there and continue to rain probably at least another 20 or 30 minutes before we start to see this thing die down a little bit. So let me run over here to the chat room and see if anybody has any questions. Hey, Mitzi, good to see you. Beverly, thank you for the always for paying attention to our post and our live broadcast. Hey, Emily, down there in Valley, Alabama. Kim is in Lafayette. Teresa Cotter is watching. Carol's watching us in Woodland this afternoon. Paula's in 5 Points. Janet watching from Auburn. Jaden, will there be hail? Yes, Jaden, there could be some small hail there just south of Ashland between 77 and Highway 9. Right now it looks like if there is hail in that storm, it's going to be probably pea-sized. Miranda's watching us in Wedowee. Roanoke's in the house. There's Dana watching us over in Wadley. Chevis is watching us in Southern Illinois. Well, hey, Chevis Walker, good to have you down here in the South watching our coverage this evening. Waverly is in the house. Yeah, a couple of folks have already mentioned they need a little rain. I'm okay up here in northeast Georgia. We've had enough for a while. I'll take several days of dry weather. Kim is watching us. Cammie Ray is watching us in Lineville. Lineville, Wedowee line. Okay. Emily Farr. Hey, Emily. Dolores Burgess, watching us from Roanoke, Alabama. Miss Dolores. Good to see you in here. Let's see here. Hey, Susan. Hey, Sharon. Okay, so Joseph is at Harkins Crossroads, and he says that it's really heavy at the moment. So that's good ground truth confirmation, Joseph. Thank you for that. Yeah, nothing going on in Roanoke. Hey, Linda. Oh, it's old Crazy Mary. Hey, Mary Wilkins. Frog Eye, Alabama in the house. Hey, Gloria. Gloria is in Kellyton. Woodland, at the moment, you can expect nothing. I mean, there's nothing happening in Woodland. Now, we're beginning to see a couple of showers intensify down here in southern Randolph between Wadley and Roanoke, right there around Dickard, from Milltown back up toward Dickard. So, you know, if it becomes stationary like the storm is over in Ashland, it'll never make it up there to Woodland. But if it drifts to the north, it potentially could. Folks, the main man Span sent out a post, and I reposted it yesterday, I think it was. If you hadn't seen it, go to Dr. Don's Weather on Facebook and look at the post that James put out yesterday because, I mean, dude's brilliant. And he hit the nail on the head. We're in that type of weather pattern now, and this is going to be the story for the next 3 to 4 months across Alabama and Georgia. When we have these warm, humid days, this is what we're going to have. And some of you are going to get the storms, some of you will not. You're going to have like a 20, 30, 40% chance of scattered afternoon pop-up thunderstorms. These storms will form in the heat of the day. In the afternoon, generally after about 3 p.m., you start to see these storms develop, and they'll blow up pretty big, and then after the sun goes down, they fade away almost as quick as they blew up. So, yeah, it's that time of year where we have these pop-up afternoon thunderstorms. So, yeah, for you folks up here in Randolph, if you're in Roanoke, pay attention to that one just north of Lafayette. If you're up here in Roxton, watch that one down there around Milltown. Wedowee, watch that one around Milltown. Woodland, you're a little bit off to the right there. So that one that's developing down around Buffalo or north of Lafayette that may make it up toward Roanoke would be one that Woodland would want to pay attention to. But we'll see. I'm not sure they're going to. It appears to be moving right now, but what's happening is the storm is building. So it's kind of an optical illusion. It looks like it's moving, but it's not really. It's building. And once those big, tall thunder clouds, you see them, you can see them off in the distance. Once they grow to around 25, 30, 35,000 feet, and then the storm structure gets so can't handle the size of the storm, it starts to collapse. And then it just looks like it's sitting there. So we'll see. That's what's happened over here at Ashland, and one would expect the same thing to happen with the rest of these storms that are building this afternoon. We'll watch them for you, though. A little Weather 101 right there. I don't think you need your good shoes. I mean, this is typical summertime weather. I mean, typically you don't have tornadoes with these types of thunderstorms. Can you get some damaging straight line winds? Yeah, sure you can. Can you get a lot of dangerous lightning? Absolutely. Just ask the folks over there around Ashland. They're getting hammered with lightning right now. And of course, very heavy rainfall. We have that aerial flood advisory for the Ashland area right now. But we're not looking at tornadic weather here. It's just not that type of setup. I know, right, Bobby? Y'all don't need any severe weather around Fredonia. You've had your fair share for quite some time. Robert's watching us in Bremen, Georgia. Scott Lee. Good to see you in here. Kim Tate, big raindrops and thunder on County Road 43, Wadley. That's that storm coming at you from the south, or building from the south. Courtney's asking, what about Dickert? She is late to the show. Well, we normally call folks out who are late to the show, Courtney. So, yeah, there you go. That's what's building there just to the south of Dickert. It's north of Milltown, south of Dickert, and we are beginning to see probably a hail core right there. Let me go in a little tighter on this particular storm. It's north of Milltown to the west of Clarksville. We've got a hail marker here. There's a 60% chance we have hail in that storm. And, yeah, probably around marble size hail with this particular storm. Let's see. Let me change over to the telestrator. Verified, but it's a pretty strong indication that we could have some hail in there. So this storm is building. It looks like it's moving to the north, but it's building to the north. So you're going to have to, if you're in Dickert up here, you're going to have to pay attention to this one, but we'll have to watch this together. No question you're going to get some very heavy rainfall. That's already beginning to start up there in the Dickert area. All right, so let me go back out. Yeah, and see this storm that's building down here in northern Chambers and southwest Randolph really right now is stretching from Malone all the way back down to Lafayette. And then we have another heavy cell near Casita stretching all the way back down to around Beans Mill in Lee County, and then back over to the Georgia-Alabama state line down there. Northern Lee, southern, southeastern Chambers, back over toward Harris County. And then the main reason we are here is this little ditty right here over in Clay County that has not moved at all. Now, again, the storm is building up to the north, so it gives the perception that the entire storm is moving, but it's not. This core has not moved much at all in the last 30 minutes. From Harkins Crossroads back over to around Shiloh on 49 is where the absolute heaviest rain is taking place. And then we have very heavy rainfall up here in Ashland also. So the Weather Service has issued an aerial flood advisory for this section of Clay County, which means creeks and streams could come out of their bank temporarily. There could be some street level flooding in parking lots, on roadways where you normally see flooding. It means that the rain is falling faster than it can drain away, so that you have that surface level flooding that will take place as long as it's raining that hard. We've already seen up to 2 inches of rain in this portion of Clay County, and up to another 1 inch or so could be possible before this storm is set and done this afternoon. So I'll zoom it back out so you can see the whole picture, and we'll put it back in motion. I'll go back over to the chat board. Regina is watching us in Wedowee. And Kim is telling us it is storming in Lafayette, Buffalo, up in the northern Lafayette burbs, known as Buffalo. Yeah, just to the north of Buffalo, just a little bit to the, well, between 431 and Thursday evening. I was over in big town of Watley, Alabama. Went over for a T-ball game. Over and watched Mr. Remington Strength knock it out of the park more than once. Had a good time over there. Ran into some good old friends. Had supper at Wadley. Yeah, and I think Zoom back out. That stuff that's down there north of Milltown probably going to miss. I don't know. It's going to be close. I mean, you got some rain out there on 22 right there at 3322 intersection just before you cross over the bridge to go into Wadley. That's where the rain starts at the moment and then stretches back out 22 pretty much all the way to around County Road 855 just west of Roanoke. We've got rain now. But again, the absolute heaviest of this is going to be between Abanda and Milltown to the east of Highway 77 and to the west of Clarksville. The intensity appears to be picking up a little bit out there on 22 also between Wadley and Dickert. Thank you, Adam. I was pretty proud of him. Well, I don't know that if you're having a little bit of trouble with the stream. I've noticed on my end. My bit rate, the kilobits per second, have dropped a couple of times, so the issue may be on my end. Unfortunately, I can't fix it unless I stop the stream, which I'm about to do in just a few moments anyway, because we don't have any severe weather out there. I just kind of wanted to jump in here and give you guys a quick update on what was going on. We saw this same thing happen yesterday. And it's happening again today, and there's a 20 to 30% chance this could happen, 20, 30, 40% chance that this could happen any day in the foreseeable future. It's the pattern we're in. It's a humid, warm, summertime, pop-up thunderstorm type weather pattern that we've got going on here. There's zero signs of that changing anytime soon. As a matter of fact, by the time we get to Sunday, and it may happen on Saturday, but certainly by the time we get to Sunday, some of you guys are going to have temperatures in the low 90s. And as long as the humidity levels are staying in the mid 90s, mid to upper 90s, like we've been seeing the last couple of days, it's going to just feel like straight out swamp weather. And we get up into the upper 80s and low 90s, we will have big thunderstorms popping all over the place. And that's probably what we're going to be looking at as we get into the weekend. All right, so I'm going to give you a tour one more time. Then we're going to step aside unless they issue something else. The main message here is big thunderstorms anywhere from just south of Lynette over to around Oak Bowery, and then up 431 to just north of Lafayette from about Buffalo on up to around Clarksville, and then into southwestern Randolph County to around Dickert, between Dickert and Roanoke. Maybe we'll say Wadley to Roanoke out there on Highway 22. And then that big rain continues over there in Clay County. And we have a aerial flood advisory in effect for that area around Ashland. We had a special weather statement for that storm in Ashland. They've since allowed that to expire, and they haven't reissued, so that signs that this storm in Clay County at least is not strengthening any more than what it was at one time. I wouldn't be willing to say that it's weakening just yet, but it's not strengthening anymore. It's kind of holding its own. But we still have very heavy rainfall. Maybe the rainfall, or the heaviest part of that rainfall, has shifted a little bit to the east. When I say a little bit, I'm talking maybe a mile or two to the east in the last 30 minutes. Now the heaviest rainfall, maybe just north of Gibsonville and just to the southwest of Shiloh. Maybe not quite as heavy or as intense as it was at one time up here in Ashland. But it's still raining heavily in Ashland. So, yeah, it's still not very safe to be out there driving. So there's the overall look one more time before we end our live this evening for you. There's a boundary front, and you see that blue line that comes across north central Alabama and then right across east Alabama. The focus of these storms this afternoon seem to be lining up fairly well with that boundary, especially from across east Alabama. The storms are pretty much along and just south of that boundary front. Then you get up there in north central Alabama, north of Birmingham, maybe the boundary's a little bit ahead of the storms, but you can see a clear line there. With all of these storms, again, they may be drifting northeast like at 1, 2, 3 miles per hour, but for the most part, they're building to the northeast, which makes them look like they're moving to the northeast. For the most part, they're stationary. And that's what we're going to be looking at probably until around 9 or 10 o'clock tonight. And then they'll just all disappear. One or two could linger toward midnight, but for the most part, all of this stuff will go away by the time we get to around 8, 9, 10 o'clock this evening across East Alabama and West Georgia. So we're going to watch this for you very closely over the next couple of hours. And if we were to get any more advisories or warnings, then I'll be right back with you. For now, we're looking at some scattered thunderstorm activity with lightning, very heavy rainfall, maybe some small hail in some of these storms. None of these storms meeting the severe weather criteria at this moment, so we have no warnings in place, no watches in place, and so we're going to step aside and we'll watch it for you. If we have any more severe weather information from the National Weather Service, any special weather statements or warnings issued, I'll be right back with you, and we'll continue with our live weather coverage here on Dr. Don's Weather. Thanks for joining me. And if I don't see you back in here tonight, we'll be along first thing tomorrow morning with your primetime forecast for Thursday here on Dr. Don's Weather.